Particle Fleet Emergence. What's it worth? Okay, so what is Particle Fleet Emergence? Particle Fleet Emergence is basically an RTS game set in space. It has some slight elements of tower defense put in there as well. It actually reminds me a bit of a game called Infested Planet. It's very similar like that. Now, Infested Planet wasn't built with spaceships. You had little guys running around, but kind of runs similar to that. It's also a bit similar to Creeper World, which I believe is made by the same people. Now, Creeper World, I haven't played too much of. I did play some of the tutorial, and it seemed awesome, but I just haven't had time to actually get into that game yet. But it does have some similarities as it's made by the same people. But it does remind me a lot of Infested Planet, which I have played a lot, and which is also an awesome game. So basically you have spaceships. You start off with a HQ unit, which you set them near to basically little energy fields, and I don't know all the terminology from the game, but basically you build up energy sources, and you also have little units which are like refinery, which gather resources for you. So basically what you have to do is the enemy is like some extraterrestrial kind of particles which come and destroy all your stuff, and they will take over some of these energy fields as well. So what you've got to do is get your energy fields, and you've got to be able to hold on to them, and then you've also got to be able to expand and take over the enemy's ones, which at the beginning is quite easy, but as you progress through the levels it gets more and more difficult. Now, I've mainly been playing the campaign, and in some ways it is more like a tutorial type of campaign, but in saying that, it's still really fun. It's really good. You can do timed, like you can try get like the record of who's the fastest and stuff, and I obviously suck at this game because often it's taken me 25, 35, sometimes 45 more minutes, and the guys who have the highest records are doing it in like 2.5 minutes. So I've obviously got a lot to learn with this game, but I love strategy games. I love RTS games, any kind of strategy game, but I am more of a dabbler, so I wouldn't be particularly great at any strategy game in general. Maybe more so at chess. That's the one game I suppose over the years I played a lot of. But when it comes to RTS games, I do love them, but I am a bit of a dabbler. So I've never really been a master of any RTS game in particular, but I have played lots of them, and I do continue to play and enjoy lots of them, but I don't take them too serious. I haven't really ever got involved in the competitive side of that yet, but I suppose I would like to try that one day. But anyway, the game itself, you can rebind the keys in the game. I don't know if you can rebind them all, but you seem to be able to do quite a lot of them. I have a keyboard which, even if a game doesn't let you rebind, it's a Razer keyboard, you can rebind them yourself, but I haven't needed to use that, which is great, because a lot of times when I play games I have to rebind them in my separate Razer app, which is fine too, but not everybody has that. Now, in the game, in the missions, there is a story which isn't great. It has some kind of characters and whatever, like the dialogue's not great, but it's not too important. The one thing I found slightly annoying with it though was, for some reason, now I have a big monitor, so for some reason, like whatever the dialogue would come up, it's in writing, it would be at the top of the screen, so I was constantly having to look up, and it's like when the dialogue comes up, it does pause the game. So it would have been better, in my opinion, if it was in the middle, or if you could adjust it around. And maybe you can adjust it, but I know you can change the size of the UI and stuff like that, but I haven't been able to adjust it. But I did find it kind of annoying having to look up. Also, the fact that the campaign is somewhat of a tutorial, I did find listening to these little guys telling you like, oh, this and this, it did make it a bit more complicated than it needed to be. Like, it wasn't always exactly clear, and also because it was a bit boring listening to them, or not even reading them talking, whatever way they talked, it just seems to confuse it a bit. So while I have been progressing and done a lot of the campaign, there's still certain units I'm using. I don't exactly know what they do. I don't exactly know all the mechanics of the game, although I do know a lot of them. But just because it's not always clear from how it's explained, but you still get through the level, and it's obviously not that important at this stage. But I do find the tutorial could be a bit clearer. But that's just a small nitpick. Also, when you're rebinding the keys, did seem to still prompt you what the old bindings were. So if, say I changed my key from D to K, whatever, it's still telling me D, even though on my keyboard it was K, whatever. Not really a big deal, but it would be nice if it kind of substituted them to tell you what your particular keyboard setup was. Now the graphics are, as I said, they're extremely basic, but once you've played it for 10 minutes, you'll actually grow to love the graphics. It doesn't it's like they've got a charm to them. Like, the more I played it, like, I wouldn't want to change them. I wouldn't want to make them better. They're just nice the way they are. Even though, if you were somebody casually looking at it, you might go, "That looks terrible." When you play it, it's just, I don't know, it just works. Same with the music. It's quite repetitive. It's quite basic, but I quite enjoy it. I don't know why. I do like the music in the game. I'm not really a person who cares too much in music and stuff like that. Like some reviewers go on and tell you every little wind instrument, a percussion instrument. I wouldn't notice. I just notice sometimes if I like it or if I don't, or if I don't notice at all. This one, I did notice it, and for some reason, it's kind of cheesy, but I kind of liked it. So that's the music. I did like that. Now, in when you're playing, you've got different ships and they've got different abilities, and as you go through the campaign, that you unlock more and more ships. So you're kind of learning gradually how to play the game, and different ships are like better for defense or better for attacking, or they have different kind of weapons. There's some kind of enemy particle called, I think it's called the Emergent or something like that. That was the one thing I haven't been crazy about it in the game so far. It's like these little particles that just emerge from all over the place from randomly, and kind of they can set you back a bit, and they can destroy your ships. And maybe when I get better at it, I will see the reasoning to it. But for me, it seems like just a kind of way to make it a bit more difficult. But I find it makes the screen a little bit. There's so much going on already in the screen, but I find they make it even a bit more messy, and they're a bit more hard to follow. And I'm not crazy about the emergent particles or whatever the hell they're called. But in saying that, it doesn't really matter that much. It's just a nitpick, and as I say, the more I get into it and the better I get at the game, maybe I'll see that now they're really great. And I do see the purpose of them to make it a bit harder, but I would have rather maybe make it a bit harder with some enemy AI or something. I don't know. So you've got to go around and you've got to basically take over the energy sources, destroy all the different enemy the different enemy structures. Some of them do different things. Like, you've got ones that send out electrical energy every so often. They can shut down your ships for a certain period of time, but you can also build ships that can stop that from happening, so you can put them strategically in the right place to protect your ships. But basically, that's how the gameplay works. When you do the campaigns, then you've got, like, you can do a mission editor, but there's also, like, you can basically make your own random type games, and I think that's once you finish the game, that's where the longevity comes from. But from playing it so far, I have to say I think the game is absolutely brilliant. I really have enjoyed it. I can't say much bad about it. Like, there's one or two little nitpicks, and I'm not even 100% sure that they're valid, because like maybe 50 hours into the game, you might say, oh no, like they're really good. It's just there's a lot going on at the moment, and it's hard to exactly know. But the game for me is like, I would say it's a must buy. Now, I'd say is it worth buying? For me, it's definitely worth buying. It's absolutely, in my opinion, a brilliant game. It's just so addictive or something. I put it on and it's very hard to turn it off. It's so good. And I say a bit like Infested Planet, which is another one of those games similar to this, and just very, very addictive, and just so much little strategies, and say you're kind of taking over sectors, and you've got to keep pushing and pushing, and you've got to hold what you've got, and then you've got to push the next sector without losing the ones you've already got, and using your different powers. But yeah, the game is great. It's definitely worth buying. Now the price is $14.99. So for me, what's it worth? On a gut instinct, I'd give it $9.99 for what it's worth. But in saying that, it's so enjoyable. Even though I think it's slightly overpriced at $14.99, I would definitely jump on it anyway. It's just, maybe that means it is worth $14.99. I don't really know. I don't really care. I give these what's it worth just on my gut feeling on how much I enjoy it. I don't care how much it takes to make the game. I don't care how the graphics go. It's just a gut feeling. Like, you know, it's not like you could play a game that you get hundreds of hours from, and if they're boring hours, it doesn't mean that it's worth hundreds of dollars or hundreds of euros or hundreds of pounds or whatever. So for me, my gut instinct would say $10.99 or $9.99, maybe slightly more, but $14.99 still, yeah, it's worth buying, even though it's just slightly, in my opinion, overpriced. But it's such a good game. I think I will play a lot of this game, and yeah, it's one of those ones you're probably going to put it in your favorites category, and you'll play it a lot of times over the years. It's one you would come back to again and again, and possibly playing 5 years from now, like, just because it's that good. So in my opinion, yeah, it's definitely worth the money. My price $9.99, its price $14.99. But I'd say if you're into strategy games, and if you liked Infested Planet, and if you like Creeper World, which I haven't played much of, but it is similar, and you really like them games, then yeah, just get it. If you're a bit on the fence, then I'd say wait till it's $9.99 or below. The game's absolutely awesome in my opinion, and yeah, well worth it.